All right, so the program this morning on ITV one more time, 2023 election, and of course talking about women's participation, political participation in focus. We've got Dr. Mrs. Stella Omonigo, and of course she's former HOD now, former head of the Department of Foreign Languages at the University of Benin, and a very formidable member of ASU. Madam, you're welcome to this one on ITV.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, viewers at home.
All right. Now, whenever I have you here, I always seize the opportunity to want to know the updates as far as ASU is concerned. Now, I understand that you guys are trying to, you guys are requesting for autonomy in the first, place, and also maybe planning another strike action.
Well, I'm not in the place to say anything, to pronounce anything concerning the plans and strategy of ASU for now. Okay. But I know that before the end of today, you will have updates because there are things planned and activities planned out for today. So I want the members of the public to watch out for it because...
Is it related to the pro rata salaries stuff?
Definitely yes, definitely yes. Nobody will want to accept that because it's an abnormal situation and we are trying to see how we can bring normalcy back into the system that is fast decayed because of bad governance. So before the end of the day, ASU will bring out, what they plan to do to help government, come back. I wouldn't say come back to the senses, but at least come back to reality and see how we can help Nigerian students to move forward in their education. Okay. So, but I'm not going to pronounce anything because I don't have that authority yet to pronounce anything concerning our strike.
All right, now, so when the issues build up, we'll call you so that you can speak more on the issues with ASU. Okay. All right, so let's get to the topic of the day, looking at women's participation in politics in Nigeria. Perhaps next year's election is another way to look at it one more time, because when we talk about women's participation in politics in Nigeria, we're either looking at the way women want to be candidates, and also the way women come out to support their candidates, to cast their votes and all that. Now, the next year's election, it is on record that it is only a very handful percentage of amounts of women that have turned out to become candidates for various political parties. Little wonder, what is really responsible for all this? Despite all the education, how women can go into politics, and of course, despite some states, even despite the leadership of Nigeria trying to let women know that it's a free coast for them. They can go in, they can become candidates. So what is really the issue this time?
Okay, before I go into that in depth, I just want to give a kind of background, to it, to let Nigerians see what we have as women's participation in politics in Nigeria as of today, and then towards the 2023 election. Of course, it is no news. It's no news that very few women are involved in political, activities and even political leadership of the country and in the country at various levels. And the reason is not far-fetched. One of the major reasons is that we are in a patriarchal society where the male dominates. It is not, I wouldn't say maybe it is out of our own doing now, but it's something that has been there from the pre-colonial era, that is from the olden days. It has been on ground where male, the males are seen as the dominating gender in the African society. Unfortunately, it has eaten so deeply and it has crept into the contemporary, era that Nigerians have not been able to break free from, and some states are still holding onto the fact that women are supposed to be in the other room and not in the political forefront, in the political arena. And we're going to see from the statistics we have, even from the women's participation in this 2023 forthcoming election. But before that, I want us to look at, there are studies that have gone around, in Nigeria, and then comparing Nigeria to their counterparts in the world and even in Africa. It is on record that only 6.7% of the total population of women in Nigeria are active in politics and even occupying either elective positions or appointive positions in Nigeria. Let me give you an example. You know, in presidency, of course, we've never had a female president in Nigeria. But presently, let's talk about the Senate, you know, the Senate and the House of Representatives. We have 109 duly elected Senate members. Out of the 109, we only have 11 females. All others are men. Only 11 women. And I always ask myself, how many times do you see these women speak on the floor of Senate? Whether it is by their own choice to be quiet, or it is because it is imposed on them, silence is imposed on them, is something for another day. In the House of Representatives, we have 469 lawmakers, and out of which we only have 19 women. So it's actually ridiculous. Now, when we go down now to governors, we do not have any female governor in Nigeria. Okay, deputy governor, we only have, right now, we only have about 3 or 4 deputy governors in Nigeria, in Rivers State, in Lagos State, I think in Enugu. I'm not so sure of Kaduna. I think there's Kaduna, but I'm not too sure of that. So out of the 36 states, we only have 4 deputy governors as females. You can imagine how females, you know, have been relegated in the political arena. Now, whether it is self-imposed or it is systemic imposed, I don't know. We're going to look at it together this morning. But the fact is that there is an obvious poor response of women in politics in Nigeria, even as of today. Then I went ahead, you know, to do some research and ask myself, before, you know, the local government leadership in Edo State, as you know, was dissolved, how many female local government chairmen did we have in Edo State? I don't think there were more than 2 or 3. You know, out of the 19 local government, you know, areas in 18 local government areas in Edo State. So the thing is really, really ridiculous. Now, coming back to 2023 election, it is on record that only 8.9% of the total candidates of contestants at different levels, from presidential now to House of Representatives, that are females. 8.9%. Now, let me give you some statistics also. For the contestant, for those contesting for the National Representative Assembly, we have 4,259 contestants. 4,259 contestants, out of which only 381 are females. They are candidates. Now, whether these people will be given the seats, that one is another story. But only 381 women are contesting for House of Rep out of 4,259 candidates. And then don't forget that these people, these statistics emerged from primaries, from the grassroots. So if at the grassroots level, women are not given opportunity, if at the grassroots level, women are not included, you can imagine what will now happen, because at the apex, because it starts from the grassroots, from the political parties, now to the apex, to the general elections, where they are going to also meet other parties. So what chances do these women have in the next election, these 381 of them? Now for Senate, sir, for Senate quickly, we have 1,101 candidates contesting for various Senate seats. And we have, out of which we have only 92, not even up to 100, out of which we have only 92 women contesting.
Okay, now just before we proceed, I think we need to get the figures right now. For the House of Reps, the House of Representatives, we've got about 360 seats. You know, I just found that out for the purpose of getting the record straight.
No, that's for the seats, yeah. But for those contesting.
Okay, that was what you said.
Yes, for the, yes.
All right.
For the seats, that's different. Okay. But the contestants at various levels.
But Doctor,
yes.
You talked about, you even asked the question,
yes,
that you do not know whether the problem is systematic or it's kind of a self-imposed sort of
yes.
thing. Now let's look at it from this you know, angle, because most times when we talk about women's non-participation in politics, some persons will readily say that it is perhaps because of the lack of proper or good education for women and all that. But, you know, times are changing. I mean, you are a doctor, you know, a doctor in education and all that. You've gone to the university and all that. And perhaps we also have so many women like you. So times are changing. Can we still say that it is because women don't really go to school?
Okay.
Or that the opportunities are not there for women to be educated? That's the reason why we still have this somewhat lackadaisical attitude.
You know, like I said earlier on, I said, let us first of all establish some statistics so that people will know what we are talking about. Let them not say these women have come again before we now start talking. Now, having looked at the numbers I gave you now, you compare it to male counterparts and then the female, you know that we have a problem. Now, where is the problem coming from? I established the fact that the problem had always been there because we operate a patriarchal society where the men dominate, and they feel that they are the... Look, let me tell you, it is known all over the world that Africa operates a patriarchal society. But no, Nigeria, coming back to Nigeria,
let's look at the reality.
No, coming back to Nigeria, when I say patriarchal society, that means that the men see themselves as the leaders, and then the women as their supporters.
But how does the women take that? How does the women...
Good, that is the question. I'm going there. No, that's where I'm going there. No, so that we have that fact, we have that systemic problem already, that belief, African belief. And even in some parts of Nigeria, where they feel that women, do you know that even up to now in some parts of Nigeria, when you go to the motor park, women are not allowed to sit at the front. They sit at the back, whether they get to the park or not, first or not. That is the, you know, the kind of things I'm talking about in the patriarchal society. Anyway, that is an aside. Now, I'm now talking about what about self-imposed, because I feel that even when the society is trying to impose something on you, it is left for the women to break out and to break free. Now, but what we are seeing in Nigerian system is that the system has now so, you know, built itself in such a way that it is against the women emerging as political leaders in Nigeria. Why do I say so? Women are in charge of taking care of, you know, the family. They are in charge of a lot of things. They are, you know, they are all into family, into trade, into this and that. They are preoccupied with so many things. Now, when it comes to politics, you start hearing people say, go and take care of your family. Why are you coming out? People will start criticizing, you know, the women. So that's why I say that it is in two ways. One, the society imposes on you that you are not meant to be for politics. And then you, as a woman, you accept it that you are also not meant to be in politics. When the society imposes on you and you accept it, you already accepted defeat. Because I know that for some time now, in recent times, there have been sensitization all over the country. I remembered when the First Lady of Edo State even took up the, you know, the responsibility of sensitizing women to come out and participate in the political election. Yeah. And in fact, even asked for a particular percentage, I think 30% of positions in Edo State should be given to women. It was that time they were saying that power is not given, that power is fought for. Power is not given. But the society, the system around the woman does not really permit her, you know, give her that opportunity. Let me give an example. Financially, how many women are financially independent? Enough to be able to pick a presidential form of 100 million. How many women are financially independent to be able to, you know, go around and sponsor rallies and, you know, and win up supporters? Another factor is that the major problem of the Nigerian woman is Nigerian woman. Why do I say that? Even the men, we instigate the women against a fellow woman to say that look at her. She's promiscuous. She's a busybody. She's neglected her family, and she's running after politics. Fellow women will be the ones to criticize those ones who even manage to bring out their heads to want to come out for political position. Let me give an example. In the University of Benin, some time ago, in recent times, you know, in faculty deanship election, they said they had not had any female dean in the faculty. Yeah. And so a woman took up the courage to come out to run for the position of a dean. Yeah. in a faculty, in an intellectual society environment. And they had females in that faculty. They had females who were even cheering her, yes, this is our turn, it is our turn. But as God will have it, to show the deceitfulness of men, the day of the election, she had only 1 vote.
From a woman?
Yes, it's on record. It's not fabu, it's on record. And so that means that she voted for only herself. The point I'm trying to make out here is that were they not, even if the men do not support the women. You understand?
No,
they don't know men.
I thought you said to show the deceitfulness of men.
When I say men, like men in general, it's the totality of of mankind.
Why don't you say to show the deceitfulness of women?
People.
Of women.
Fine.
Of women. Let's
okay, fine.
That. Yeah.
But the point I was trying to make is that means that the woman voted for only herself. It was ridiculous. Now, that thing discouraged every other woman who had the intention of coming out for such positions in the University of Benin. That is in an intellectual environment. So that means that even the women who were clapping for her to say it is our turn, even her own best friend did not vote for her. And this is what we see also in the larger society. When women try to come out, number one, the men do not encourage women to come out for whatever reasons we do not know.
Yeah.
Now, when the women also come out, the women, their fellow women, do not support them. That is why you see that there is this, I wouldn't say that this lagardestic approach, you know, an attitude to it, that this laissez-faire attitude towards politics when it comes to women, because they do not want to be disgraced. They do not want to be disappointed. Because when a woman comes into something like this, she comes fully, emotionally, she comes with all her heart to deliver. She has, you know, all her vibes, all her power, and at the end, nobody supports her. It's very discouraging. The way a man will just drink over a failure to say, okay, it's one of those things. A woman will not take it like that. Oh, really? A woman may develop high blood pressure because of the pain, the disappointment from people who were supposed to help her, who were supposed to support her, but who are at the end disappointed. I will give you another illustration of how women, you know, are treated in this society, especially in the Nigerian society. We went for a congress, you know, of a union, names withheld. And then a woman wanted to come out as the vice president of that union. She did not say she wanted the position of the of presidency. She wanted to be the vice president. She had mobilized everybody and everything. When we got to the Congress, the ideal thing is that when the candidate comes out, they will now ask the members of her branch, you know, if they are in support. All of us will now get up. Do you know, just sincerely,
it was only one
that
person.
When they called upon the branch, if they supported the woman, nobody got up. You know, so you can imagine how discouraging it will be, not only for that particular candidate, but for other females who are intending to come out.
Okay, now, the point here is that, because from all that you have said now, despite the fact that you have been able to establish that men don't encourage women, but I think for me, I will only take it to the extent that most men will not really encourage, you know, their wives into politics because of you know, what plays out in politics. You need to attend political functions and all that and all that.
So what gives us the impression, gives you the impression that men are more functional than women in political meetings?
Nobody's saying that men are more functional. What we're saying is that from all that you have said now, the reason why I decided to pull this topic on one more time is because we are preparing for next year's election.
Yes.
And women most times, they vote more. They vote more. You know, but again, let's look at the candidates. We don't even have a female candidate in the presidency.
Yes. No, we have one. We have one from APM. From APM. Allied People's Movement.
Okay, but what we are saying here is that...
But how many people know APM?
But what we are saying here is that let's also look at the primaries.
Yes.
The primaries, we had a certain woman that also, just like what happened with Sarah Jibril,
yes.
also had that playing out.
Yes.
Then for the local government election, like in Edo State now, I see one or two women, flying their banners and all that. So the point is that for women not to be supporting themselves, should we continue to want to rest it with men, I beg your pardon, that men have a way of always trying to set the situation so that women don't support themselves and all that? Don't you think it's high time that women should know that, look, this thing that always play out with us, let us put a stop to it. Let's support ourselves. Don't you think so?
Good. Actually, I was coming to that. I thought it would be part of our conclusion. But since you have raised it, this is what I feel. Like I said before, if the society is trying to box you into a particular position where you are not supposed to be, you mustn't accept it. Women must not accept to be second-class citizens in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, we actually occupy more than half of the electorate of Nigerians in Nigeria right now. Yeah. Women occupy more than half. So that means that if we actually come together and support female candidates, they will emerge as leaders. And I still see that since we have given men have been dominating over time, and Nigeria is, almost sinking. I won't say Nigeria is sinking, it's almost sinking. I feel that we should give room for women, who have come out, who have the boldness, to come out for various political positions. We should give them the opportunity. Well, but like you said, let me tell you, most men do not support, I don't want to generalize, most men do not support women in politics, and they feel that maybe it will lead them into promiscuity, which is one of their major reasons, because they know what they also do when they go there. When they go for their political meetings, because most times, political meetings are usually nocturnal meetings that go into the night. And then from there, when they go for political meetings, sometimes they go with handbags, they go with walking sticks. But the major thing I'm trying to say is that women must not accept themselves as just sex objects in the society. When they say no woman, no nation, no woman, no miliki, I feel that our own slogan should not be no woman, no development in the society. No woman, no development in Nigeria. That is how it should be. Let us see how we can support these ones, these few, 8.9% of them, out of all the candidates who are coming out at various levels, of positions in the political arena for 2023. Let us see how we can encourage them to emerge. Like I asked before, out of the 381 women who are coming out from the 4,259 candidates for only senatorial seats, we should be able to see how we can get 40% of senators to be women.
Okay, now let us also look at some of the allegations that are leveled against women, what they do during political times and all that. Now, it is alleged that women are responsible for, because Nigeria as a nation today, we are trying to go against votes selling, votes buying, so to say. Now, some of the allegations are that women form a very large number of those electorates that will take money for votes. Because we need to also begin to speak to some of the women. Because I have seen this. I'm not trying to,
I know what you're talking about.
But most times, most women, they do this thing. Some women, I should say, they do these things. And that is not good. So let us begin to talk to women in this direction.
You see, let me tell you, unfortunately, the society always puts the blame on women. That is the patriarchal system we are operating in.
That does not mean that...
It does not mean that men are not doing worse.
Do it.
It does not mean that men are not doing. I will tell you something. Now, the problem is that women talk too much. I will say it categorically here. Women talk too much. That's why you see that any little thing about a woman is amplified. Because fellow women will carry it like CNN, they will broadcast it. But when men do things, they know how to code. You want to tell me that during elections, men don't collect money? In fact, they are in charge of the money. They are in charge of the distribution. It is the change they give to women who are gullible and who start, who get excited at little change because they have to use the money to support their families. Most of these 1,000 to 2,000 they share are polling units. They are not going to use it to buy clothes. Immediately from the polling unit, they are going to the market to go and buy food and feed that same man that get them change. So the blame is always on women because women get too excited, they talk too much, they broadcast themselves, and they know how to criticize themselves the more. That was why I said earlier on that the problem of a Nigerian woman is a fellow Nigerian woman. Let me give you an example. In the last selection of prime ministers in the United Kingdom, how many women came out? The number of women who came out were even more than the number of men who came out. And a woman emerged, even though she, she made a mistake somewhere along the line. A woman emerged as the prime minister. Yeah. We've had several women as prime ministers in the United Kingdom. The president, vice president of the United States is a woman. And the president of the United States, gives her opportunity, freedom to run her office very well, and she's doing excellently well. So what makes us think in Nigeria that Nigerian women are just meant for the kitchen and the other room? Why do Nigerians think that women do not have, the initiative to turn the world around? Let me quickly give an example of some females who have served at various levels in Nigeria. Currently, we have a female as the Vice Chancellor of the University of Benin. When we had men as Vice Chancellors of the University of Benin, how was the school? Talking about even the physical appearance of the school, how was the school? But in the few years she had emerged, despite the strike, despite the destruction in the academic activities, when you are passing through Udibeng Gate, you will know that that is a school, true or false. So let us give women, a chance to in governance. I do not want to negate that, yes, some women had not messed up. But they always sing, the mistakes of women more than the praises of those who had performed. Okay. Okojo-Iweala, for example, performed excellently well. That all over the world, she's recognized, and now she's the Director General of the World this thing. Meanwhile, the one, because Stella Odua or Desiani, took some money and some jewelries, they are broadcasting it. Desiani, did Desiani steal as much as Dino Melaye? All right, as of yesterday, Dino Melaye was planting wealth. We cannot, Nigerian wealth all over the social media. We don't have
what it takes to really prove here whether Dino Melaye stole. That's not our responsibility here. Now, let's look at next year's election, because the big question is, to what extent do you think women can guarantee, best choice in next year's election? Because Nigeria cannot afford not to choose right this time. Just like what we said here, that women form a very large number of the electorate. So, what role do you think women would play? In what regard do you think women
can play any role that a man can play?
Nigeria has the best out of the candidates that we have.
Look, Nigerians, let me tell you, a woman can play any role a man can play, and even better. If given opportunity and if given the conducive atmosphere to deliver.
Yeah,
we have seen it in the University of Benin. Now, when you talk about the choice,
the voting.
Until you try somebody, you will not know how good the person is. Even if the person, seem to be quiet or incompetent. But don't forget that before somebody emerges, before a political party chooses somebody to be their representative, to be their flag bearer, they would have tried the person at the grassroots level. Like I told you, I said these women who emerged, came from a grassroots. From the grassroots level, people know them in their various communities. They have pedigrees, things that they had done in the past, either at the local government level, at the state level, at the senatorial level, district level. They have what they had achieved. And let me tell you, for every person, every human being on earth, there is a talent. There is something deposited in you that you can use, in helping the society to grow. Okay, but unfortunately, what we see is that, let me tell you, the problem is this.
Let's look at the candidates. What are the indices? What factors can the women use to know that this would be the best choice for Nigeria as a president? That's the question. Now,
the question now, I'm going to answer your question through another question. What are the factors we use in electing the men? Most times it is based on sentiments. Most times it is based on tribalism.
So are we going to continue to use that sentiment?
No, but what I'm trying to say is this. No, look, let me tell you, I can't vouch for any woman. I cannot. I can only vouch for myself. But my point is that when I see a female candidate, you interact with the person, from the person's campaign, the person's comportment, body language, even if you don't know the person before, you'll be able to know which is good, somebody who is good and somebody who is...
Why can't you vouch for a fellow woman?
No,
a woman? Why?
I can't vouch for anybody, whether man or woman. I cannot vouch for anybody, whether man or woman. It's not only a fellow woman. But my point is this. If I go to a polling unit, I will give room for a woman more than a man. Because I will try and understand their comportment, in our campaigns and everything. That's why we're always asking all the candidates to release their manifesto. From their manifesto, whether somebody wrote it for you or not, at least you will present your manifesto. You will present it verbally. And you'll be able to know whether somebody wrote it for you, or you are just reading what somebody wrote for you, or you have something, to offer to the people. But there's something I know about women. I'm telling you, I will vote for a woman. Any day, any time. Women are compassionate. Women are compassionate, no matter how much pressure on them to do the wrong things. Because even these women who committed errors in one way or the other, if you investigate very well, they were pressurized by their godfathers. They were under pressure by their godfathers who gave them the opportunity to run because they had something, they had a bargain. I came out for a political position before at a level, and I knew how men were the ones who came to and said I should sign a pact with them. And I did not emerge as the winner, even though I was close to winning, because I did not sign that pact with them. So the women who committed errors in one way or the other must have been victims of godfatherism. That's another story for another day. But my point is this. My point is this. A woman is compassionate. I don't think a woman will open her eyes when workers had not been paid for months, or workers are being paid below the living standard. We carry 80 billion naira, 80 billion naira, and 80 billion naira and vamoose.
Yeah, but we once had that situation. Let's remember the story of Ete. Ete was in the House of Representatives. We had then that some workers were still not paid in Nigeria.
Yes.
We even had some members of the House of Reps the House of Reps, the National Assembly was owing, and she was alleged to have taken such an amount of money. So are you trying to say? But
when they investigated it, have you forgotten?
Cannot do the crime.
Let me now go back to Let me go back to this example you gave. Do you know why the matter did not see light of day? Because when the investigation started, they found out that there were so many men, including the leadership of the House, who were indicted. Yeah, but the point is, who was at the head of that? And that was why we did not hear it again. But who was at the head of the scam? I told you, I said, so most times women are gullible. Yeah. They came under pressure. Gullible to the extent that you allow yourself to be let me tell you, I was just saying, I shared my experiences with you, several times when, even at the point of at gunpoint, some persons want me to do the wrong thing. If you are not strong, if you are not strong-willed to maintain your integrity, you may not be able to survive as an upright person in our political setting. And perhaps as a woman too. That's what I'm saying. If you are not careful, and that's why you see that even those who want to come out because of these intrigues will not want to involve themselves. Okay, back to the question now. As we commence our descent now, next year's election, the presidential election is going to be held. Now, women are going to be talking to, wives are going to be talking to their husbands, mothers are going to be talking to their children, and of course, aunties and nephews are going to be talking to their relatives on who to vote and who not to vote. So, what are those things that women should look out for among the candidates? We have a woman candidate now, one of the parties. Though you said that you will vote for a woman any day, anytime. That was all you said here. Yes. But little wonder whether most women have that same mindset with yours. I just asked a question. Will your own position make that woman to win? Perhaps just one single vote? No, let me ask one question on one side. Yes, and the other question on the other side is that, what are those things that fellow women like you should be looking out for the candidates? That when this candidate possesses this, let's listen to their manifesto, that when they say this, they will do this and all that. And then let us also look at their antecedents. That will make us to want to say that, okay, we'll give you our support. What are those things? Anyway, you have answered the question in a way. Yeah, but I want you to say you are the woman here. Let me just talk about concerning that woman, the only presidential candidate in Nigeria, the only female presidential candidate in Nigeria from APM. I asked a question. I said, yes, though she emerged, the flag bearer of the party. Well, how many people know that party? Do you understand? Because that also matters. And then when we're talking about forming the third force that time, what has she done? What is her name? Who, you don't just come out to be, to come out to run for for the apex position in the country.
Yeah.
Before you come out, you must have made yourself known. That was the problem Mogalu had in 2015. You know, and so what we are trying to say is that, I mean, 2019, so what we are trying to say is that before you come out, you must have known you from the grassroots. You must have occupied some positions. You must have, you know, done some things. Your antecedent, your pedigree, everything, your CV, everybody will know it. That is one. Before you come out for the apex position. So that is on one side. Then for all other levels, let me tell you, Nigerians and women, we are the ones who actually are the receiving end of anything that goes wrong in the society. If it is bad, it comes back to us. If it is good, most times it goes to the men. But when it is bad, let me tell you that there is no food in the house. A man can stay without eating. A man can go to his girlfriend's house and eat and come back to the house and the wife and children have not eaten. So you are the receiving end. Yeah, and that is why we must get it right. That is why we must get it right. We must choose the right candidate. And how do we choose the right candidate? You know, somebody who is compassionate. Yeah. Somebody who identifies with your struggles. Not somebody who will come out boldly to tell you that, look, shut up. Openly to say that, shut up, you do not matter. In this case, in the 2023 election, all lives matter, all tribes matter, all states matter, and that is how it's supposed to be. It should not be based on all religions matter. In 2023 elections, a lot are at stake, and so women should come up, sensitize not only their children, but sensitize themselves first. Sensitize themselves first to choose somebody who can identify with our problems, and then go ahead to convince men. Let me tell you, women have powers to turn around things in the world. After all, it was a woman that destroyed Samson. So women, we have power. The only problem is that we do not know how to use our power. And then the men have already known where our powers are, and then they use it negatively against us. So let us use our heads this time around. Don't wait for somebody to sensitize you. Sensitize yourself first. And then sensitize your children, sensitize your daughters, sensitize your sons, and sensitize your husband along the way. And also, that is it.
I also want you to tell the women this morning that they should watch out for those big money bag politicians. Politicians that will come, give them 5,000, 10,000 naira, that will not take them far. I want you to look into that camera and let the women know that.
Well, if my position about all those money bags, you know, it may shock the world. And I will tell you why. Because if they tell you that they will not bring money to your polling unit, it is a lie. They will bring money to your polling unit. And they may bring money to your community. And let me tell you, in the present situation in Nigeria, with the level of hunger in Nigeria, it will be very difficult, almost impossible, for a woman not to accept money from these money bags. So, fellow women, if you feel like collecting the money, collect the money. Now, your money where the thief keep, collect the money and vote for the person who will identify with your problem.
Now, when you
but I should not collect the money.
Doctor,
collect the money and use it to cook.
Yeah, doctor, when you tell them to collect the money, that becomes an issue of conscience and morality.
Look at, let me tell you, who owns the money? Look at, wait, let me tell you, CBN wanted to change money. Have you not heard that as at yesterday, CBN had received 28 billion naira cash from Nigerian society? Where have they been keeping the money? Who owns the money? Who deposited the money? We saw videos on social media. It was not that it was fabricated, of trailer loads of money. We saw videos and pictures of money that were, you know, dug on the ground that got spoiled. Why Nigerians were suffering? Nigerians, there was a state that even said that they are going to pay workers with cash. Where have they been keeping the cash? Please, when they bring money to your polling unit, I know it will be difficult for you to say no, but don't give them your PVC. Collect the money, use it to cook for your children, and vote for the right person to lead this country.
All right, Dr. Mrs. Stella Omoniwo, very strong character. I just, you know, at times when I have you on sets, I wish other women will have your kind of character to know the right thing to do. So that we can actually get it right, you know, as it relates to women. Because men have their issues. You know, on the day of election, men also collect money. We have young stars, young boys, some men that collect money.
It is the change they give to the women.
But for the women, we also need to talk to the women too, because women can actually talk to the conscience of men. I mean, I have a wife at home. My wife can tell me something and she can advise me on some certain
In fact, let me quickly add this. Do you know that in the traditional society, even up to now in our village, do you know that women are very powerful? God deposited in us a powerful instrument that we can use in changing Nigeria.
No,
in
so
those days,
let's change Nigeria
yes,
now.
let me tell you, in those days, I wrote a paper on it.
Yeah.
You know, do you know that this nakedness that we are selling and making cheap, do you know that you can use it to turn the head of the leadership of this country around?
Oh, really? How?
Yes,
How?
in the traditional society, women we go. There's something we call in my place, for example. There are women we call egweya. I don't know whether you have it here. Egweya. When they say egweya is coming out, look, let me tell you, if you are a leader in that community and you have been doing something wrong, you will adjust yourself. When they say we will call egweya for you, because the women will come out with a piece of wrapper, and they will place a curse with their nakedness. They will just throw the wrapper down. They will place a curse on whatever, you know, that situation, that negative situation in the society. Let me tell you, when I was growing up, I was in SS2. I was in class 5. When there was a particular series of theft in the community, series of thefts, every day, you hear that they've taken somebody's goat, they've taken somebody's fowl, everything. They tried, and then the women decided. Police even came. Police could not help us. So the community was getting, you know, very porous. The women came out and said that today, whether the person is a stranger, whether the person is from the community or an indigene, that they will get to the matter. So the town crier went out and said that there was going to be a piece of dancing yam. I didn't even know that time. And then they came out. Do you know that the following day, after that exercise in the night, the following day, everything that was stolen in the community were returned. Everything was returned. Everything was returned. Goats, they just dropped them at, people were just throwing things, you know, like that.
Because the women came out.
Yes, and I know that women can also do such. If we unite, women can do such to drive away people, bandits and terrible people who have been, like even me, as an associate professor, when it comes, I will come out. Because God, it was God that gave us the power, not not a human being. And then the men are now seeing that we have such powers. They will not give us money. You use it for a little pleasure. You forget the power of that thing you possess. May God help us.
All right. So we really want a situation whereby the women can actually come out and place something, maybe a curse on whoever.
Nigeria is seeking anything it takes to deliver Nigeria from these politicians, from these wicked leaders. Anything that it will take, women come out. We can deliver Nigeria, both politically, traditionally, physically, spiritually.
Economically too.
We can deliver Nigeria.
And security-wise.
We can deliver Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Mrs. Stella Monigo. Always a wonderful time whenever we have you on the program this morning on ITV. She was once the head of the Department of Foreign Languages at the University of Benin, and a very formidable member of ASU, UNIBEN chapter, and even ASU nationally. Well, a very big thank you, Dr. Mrs. Stella Monigo.
Thank you for having me
on the show this morning on ITV.